The race for Nelson Mandela Bay is down to the wire. The ANC and DA are currently neck and neck with 48 seats each. The political future of the Bay now hangs in the balance. On the ground is GOVAN WHITTLES, and he'll be speaking to Tabfuma Makina.
Yeah, so we saw the picture in Durban and in the northwest. Let's go south now to Nelson Mandela Bay. GOVAN WHITTLES is standing by. GOVAN, the DA made a big push to try and get over 50% in Nelson Mandela Bay municipality. They've ended up with just 48 seats, and the magic number there, as our analysts have told us, is 61 seats. What does the route to 61 look like for the DA, and is there any hope that they're going to get it right?
It's a difficult road to 61 for the DA. They did make a big last push, but ultimately they failed. They lost seats here in the Nelson Mandela Bay Council. And right now the numbers are on 39% each for the ANC and the DA. That's 48 seats each. And in this city, the Economic Freedom Fighters have emerged as the kingmakers with 8 seats. Some of the other seats include the Northern Alliance coming in with 3 seats, first-time performance, so that's a good performance for them. Patriotic Alliance doubled their seats. They had 1 before, they've got 2 now. The Abantu Integrity Movement, led by Brakusta Jack, has come in with 1 seat as well. The Good Party 1 seat. The AIC also scoring 1 seat. The ACDP performing better than they did before. Now they've got 3 seats, and they attributed their rise in support to their anti-vaccine messages. But it looks like there's a path to power for the African National Congress in this city, and there may be one for the Democratic Alliance. That's if they can work with the EFF. But let's find out whether they'll do that. Joining me is Ngaba Banga. He's the former mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay. Now we don't know who the new mayor will be, as well as LUYOLO NQAKULA. He's the regional task team coordinator. Ngaba, let's begin with you. So you've got 48 seats. The EFF has got 8. If you join with the EFF and other small parties, you could come back into council. Will you work with the EFF?
Our position is very clear as the Democratic Alliance. We won't work with the EFF because the policies are destructive, and we've seen it in the past year in this city that it has been collapsed to the brick because of that. And we believe that we need partners that share the same values with us of stopping corruption, good governance and delivering services. Those are basic principles.
Well, if you refuse to work with the EFF, then you could scrape together a coalition if you convince all of the other small parties to vote with the DA. But we know that the parties like the DOP, which is coming in with 2 seats, the NA, would be more inclined to go with the ANC, maybe AIM as well. Do you think you can convince all of these small parties to vote with the DA and come back into council?
It's a difficult thing to run a coalition with many parties, but we are discussing at a national level scenarios of how this city can be run. We're busy with that. And then we'll engage with the national leadership as the provincial leadership to say, what do we do in Nelson Mandela?
How about the ANC then?
To us, we are very clear. The ANC want it out of government because the ANC in the country have declined below 50%. It's a rejection by the people in general for the first time since 1994.
While the ANC has declined, the DA support has also dropped in this metro, particularly not significantly in coloured areas where there weren't necessarily any wards that the ANC lost that it couldn't win back from the DA in other areas. But the PR vote seemed to reflect a lean towards the smaller parties by coloured voters. What do you have to say about your performance in this metro?
The voter turnout has been a major problem, and I think for the ANC and the DA generally, which have resulted to smaller parties taking pieces of voters. If the voter turnout was high, you could have seen a completely different story. That's why voters should go out and vote. Now we have 48 seats. The ANC's got 48 seats. These are the 2 parties here. And I'm happy that we're still a majority party, meaning in terms of the percentages here. It shows that the ANC, which was a majority party, is going down. Because we must have a forward-looking thinking. This is a clear message for 2024 election, and we have to work hard and make sure that we make people accountable and make sure that in this city there's service delivery and also there's stability. Stability is more important.
All right, I'll have to leave it there, Mr. Banga, but as you say, going to 2024, the truth of the matter is you're likely to end up in the opposition benches now if you refuse to take the EFF. Would you accept that?
this is not about dying to keep the mayoral seat. It's about principles. We will never take decisions that are going to break down this city just because we want to sit in the city hall.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ngababanga. Let's bring in LUYOLO now, the Regional Task Team Coordinator in Nelson Mandela Bay. The DA won't work with the EFF, so it looks like the door to power is open for the ANC. You're going to take this gap?
Well, I think the first thing that we must clarify on national television has been what has been distorted by Ngaba here. The Democratic Alliance was the majority party for the past 5 years. So in the context of Nelson Mandela, they've been faced with a sharp rejection by voters of them, even there's a context of a lower voter turnout. But in relation to the question of coalitions, the National Executive Committee pronounced itself yesterday with respect to that a team has been assembled which is seized with those particular discussions. So ourselves as a region, we are going to take direction and tune from that particular team. But fundamentally important, what was raised by the ANC was that the ANC would engage and interface with that process in a very principled manner, informed by the question of a need to deliver service delivery, a need to stabilize administration, a need to stabilize the political environment, and as well, like engaging or interfacing with like-minded organizations.
And those priorities could only be met almost certainly if you were in power. Is the objective here to take power?
Well, the state does remain a moral question and an instrument in the hands of the ANC. But as I have said, that there is a particular process which has been defined organizationally, which is being led by the National Executive Committee of the ANC. So we'll then make a determination, or a determination will be made by that particular level of leadership, and then ourselves as a region will then follow suit.
Okay, Zizi Kodwa is in the city. We understand him to be meeting with some of the important role players of the other parties. Let's talk about your performance. 37 wards, that's up from 36 last year. You took that EFF ward in KwaNobuhle. Were you surprised at that result? How do you feel about your performance?
No, we were not surprised at that particular result, because what has transpired in terms of the ward result has been a culmination of the work that we've been doing on a daily basis. That is why, as the ANC, even though we have heard the message which has been communicated by our people by not coming out to vote in their numbers, we still remain, humbled and appreciate the declaration which they've made through voting for us, as the African National Congress. And comparatively to 2016, we have recorded, in terms of a head count, an increase in votes. But there's more which still needs to be done from ourselves as the ANC as well, in terms of responding to the challenges that our communities continue to raise.
I just wanted to close here. Is there any party that you will not be speaking to in coalition talks?
The National Executive Committee is seized with the process of leading coalition discussions.
All right, that process led by Zizi Kodwa, as we have said. And right now we're outside the city hall. Many smaller parties arriving here, also to, some of them say, to check out their potential new offices. There are a lot of good vibes in the city of Nelson Mandela Bay, particularly among the small parties like the Northern Alliance, the Patriotic Alliance, the Abantu Integrity Movement, the Defenders of the People, and all of them almost certain that they'll be able to get into power through a coalition. The question is how the party that has these 48 seats will be able to do it. In terms of the ANC could join up with the EFF, the Northern Alliance, the Defenders of the People, and the Abantu Integrity Movement, and they'd have those 61 seats. They'll be able to get a government together. The fact that the DA is not talking to the EFF means it will make it that much harder. They'll likely only come back in if they form a coalition with the ANC. So now it's back to you.
Thanks, Govan. Let's see if anyone can make deals there and get to that magic number of 61.